wedding, I received a video of my fiancée, Chloe, passionately kissing her ex. I didn't fly off the handle, didn't call her screaming. Instead, I posted the video on Facebook for all our friends to see, basically giving her and her ex my blessing. I captioned it, "Weds off," just letting everyone know so you don't waste a trip. My Facebook feed blew up instantly, but she panicked. It was just a game with friends. What are you freaking out about? I just put my phone down after posting when it rang. Caller ID, Chloe's mom. Her voice crackled with a mix of anger and anxiety. "Ethan Miller, what in the world is that Facebook post about?" she demanded. "You take that down right now. You think this makes you look good? Listen to me, the wedding is still on. We can't let ourselves become a laughingstock." A cold smirk touched my lips. "Ma'am," I said, a chill in my voice, "your daughter cheated on me. Now the wedding's off. You should probably figure out how you're going to explain to the neighbors why you have a daughter like that. If you can't spin it right, well, people talk, and it won't be pretty." Chloe's mom started yelling, her voice shrill enough to pierce my eardrums. "Ethan Miller, you're trying to ruin our Chloe." I didn't wait to hear the rest of her helpless rage. I just hung up. When she called back, I ignored it. I knew some decisions, once made, were final. There was no going back. Later, I gave my parents the short version, told them I was serious about canceling the wedding, that I wasn't just being impulsive. They didn't ask too many questions, just quietly supported me. Right now, they were busy fielding calls from relatives and friends. An hour later, Chloe burst through the door, breathless. She leaned against the doorframe, panting, her face flushed. Whether from alcohol or running, I couldn't tell. "Ethan Miller, what's the meaning of this? You don't want to get married anymore?" "I thought my Facebook post was pretty clear," I said, my face a mask. I was fighting back a surge of bitterness, terrified it would break through. "If you didn't get it, maybe you need a remedial reading comprehension class." It was time to rip off the Band-Aid, make a clean break. This was it. This was the end of us. I remembered when her ex, Liam, came back into the picture. Someone had warned me, said there was something fishy going on between them. At first, I dismissed it as nonsense. A relationship from that long ago? Surely, as adults, they'd both moved on. Turns out, I was the naive one, the fool. How could I believe that two people who were once so in love could just be friends after breaking up? If exes kept seeing each other, it was almost inevitable they'd hook up again at some point. All that love, all that time, I thought with a sigh, completely wasted. I nudged the suitcase at my feet with my toe, my eyes filled with disgust. Just looking at Chloe, at her disheveled state, made anger simmer inside me. "Since we're getting a divorce," I said, my voice devoid of warmth, "you obviously have no reason to keep living here. Your stuff is already packed." Chloe, usually so high and mighty, actually looked flustered. A flicker of panic crossed her eyes. She clearly hadn't expected me to be this decisive. "Ethan, listen to me," she pleaded, her voice a mix of hurt and indignation. "It was just a stupid game with friends. Just a kiss." I shot back. "Oh, really? If I go around kissing other people, maybe sleep with them too?" My voice rose, sharper than I intended. Chloe stared, speechless. She obviously hadn't expected that question. After a moment, her tone shifted, becoming accusatory. "You have to look at the specific situation, Ethan. Can you please not be so unreasonable?" Unreasonable. Right, specific situation. She made betrayal sound so logical, so defensible. She would have made a great politician spinning things like that. Too bad she didn't use those skills for something more constructive, like acing the LSATs. The thought was a bitter scoff in my mind. Her excuses were making me sick. "I'm being unreasonable?" I sneered, grabbed a bag of her clothes and tossed it at her feet. "If that's your only explanation, then we're completely done." My voice was firm, final. I didn't want to hear another word. Chloe finally exploded, just like she always did.
Whenever we argued, she'd eventually get that impatient, exasperated look. "Ethan Miller, do you have a treaty like this?" she cried. "We worked so hard to get to this point. Now you're calling off the wedding? What will people think of me? How am I ever going to get married now?" She tried to explain her relationship with Liam, her eyes desperate. "If Liam and I could have gotten back together, we would have done it ages ago. We wouldn't have waited until now." "At a bar," she continued, her voice taking on a wrong tone, "a kiss is just a common dare in a game. I don't even know what you're so upset about." And in that moment, I think I finally understood why we were never going to make it. In her eyes, kissing another guy, a friend, was just a game. I guess I was just too old-fashioned, too out of touch. What was next? If I found out a kid wasn't mine, maybe she'd call it being progressive or some new modern trend. Any hope I had for this relationship died right then. In a couple quick movements, I had all of Chloe's luggage out on the porch, my anger fueling me. Seeing this, Chloe grabbed my arm, her eyes pleading. "Ethan Miller, can't you be the bigger person here?" Her voice trembled. "Fine, I'll stop talking to him. Is that what you want?" I yanked my arm free. Just as I was about to speak, Liam Walker's footsteps approached, his voice drifting towards us. "Ethan, I think you've misunderstood. We really are just friends." I wished it was a misunderstanding, but I couldn't lie to myself, not about what I'd seen with my own eyes. Maybe it was my fault for having such sharp eyes, or for my phone not conveniently breaking at that exact moment. Seeing Liam, Chloe's expression shifted to a mixture of hope, helplessness, and wounded pride. "Liam, you're just in time. Tell him. Explain that nothing really happened between us, right?" Liam smoothly put his arm around Chloe's shoulder, gazing at her with a look of deep affection. Then he turned to me, his tone earnest. "Yeah, Ethan, if you don't believe it was just a game, I can take you to that bar sometime, you'll see. Other than that kiss, nothing else happened. Why are you being so aggressive about this?" He paused. "Look, how about this? I'll apologize to you on Chloe's behalf. This is all my fault. If I hadn't insisted on playing truth or dare, you two wouldn't be fighting like this." "Are you kidding me? That was nothing happened? What exactly did something happened mean to them? Do they have to be caught in bed for it to count?" On the surface, Liam looked apologetic, but where Chloe couldn't see, his eyes were full of smug.
Pressing finally boiled over. I threw a punch, catching Liam square on the jaw. He stumbled back, then crashed to the ground. Chloe, her eyes filled with concern for Liam, knelt beside him, and then looked up at me, furious. "Ethan Miller, no matter how upset you are, you can't take it out on Liam. Apologize to him right now. He just came over to explain. Why would you hit him for no reason?" Looking at the two of them huddled together on the ground, it suddenly clicked. They were both innocent, and I was the only one at fault. Apparently, this whole mess was because I was too petty, not magnanimous enough. I was just supposed to grit my teeth and let my fiancée get kissed by other men. Maybe other guys could do that, but I couldn't. I guess I was that small-minded. I closed my eyes for a moment, not wanting to say another word to these cheating scumbags. I was afraid I'd lose control and really hurt one of them, landing myself in a world of trouble, ruining my life over people like this. Absolutely not worth it. Memories of my time with Chloe flashed before my eyes, quick as a summer storm. Chloe and I met at a friend's wedding. She was a bridesmaid. I was a groomsman. We'd both graduated college about a year before and were new to the workforce. Our friends jokingly nudged us. "You two look great together. You should just get together." We laughed it off, both declining politely. But who knew? From that day on, our story truly began. Back then, my family had just arranged for me to start learning the ropes at a small subsidiary of their corporation. Chloe happened to get a job at that same small company. Over time, as we got to know each other, love slowly blossomed. In our third year together, Chloe told me she'd had a serious boyfriend in college. They'd broken up amicably after graduation because of long distance. I didn't think much of it at the time. Who doesn't have an ex? A few more years passed, and it just felt like the natural next step to get legally married. Thinking back now, maybe I was just a rebound for her, a tool to help her get over her heartache. The thought was sickeningly absurd. That evening, feeling completely dejected, I drove to my parents' house. The whole way, the day's events replayed in my mind. I just couldn't believe it. What kind of game required kissing someone else? I couldn't wrap my head around it. When I got home, Mom pulled me into a hug, her voice soft and comforting. "It's okay, son. You don't have to explain anything. This isn't your fault," she continued. "We've already spoken to our relatives and friends, explained the situation. They understand. And even if they say something, don't pay any attention to it. That's just life, you know. Sometimes you're the one people are talking about. Sometimes it's someone else. Her words were a balm to my raw emotions, and tears welled up. My eyes were red. I'm sorry, Mom, I choked out, guilt heavy in my chest. I'm sorry for putting you and Dad through this. Dad came out of the kitchen holding a platter with a perfectly cooked pot roast, and he deliberately lightened the mood. Hey, kiddo, is this the first time your mom and I have had to clean up one of your messes? Remember when you broke your grandma's bracelet? The one she'd worn for 10 years? Who took the blame for that one, huh? I did, and I got an earful from Grandma for it. Dad's story brought back memories of my childhood troublemaking, and a wave of nostalgia mixed with a little sadness washed over me. Mom picked up where
Smile on her face. And don't forget the time you cut up your sister's favorite dress when you were little. It took me days to calm her down. Her reminiscence eased the tension in the room a bit. Yes, growing up, my parents had always been this understanding, this forgiving. Time after I'd messed up, they were there to help me fix things, to clean up my messes. Looking at the lines etched on their faces, an involuntary pain of sadness hit me. I'd really thought I'd found a good woman, someone they'd be happy to call a daughter-in-law. But then, for this to happen right before the wedding, I'd let them down again. I knew my actions would inevitably lead to some gossip among relatives and friends, but my parents were still bravely facing it, explaining things calmly. I silently vowed to myself that from now on, I would do everything I could to take care of them, to make sure they never had to worry about me like this again. The next morning, while we were having breakfast, Chloe's family showed up uninvited. As soon as Chloe's mom saw my mother, a flicker of unease crossed her face, but she quickly masked it. "Well, hello there, everyone," she chirped, trying to dispel the awkwardness about Ethan's Facebook post last night. "He really was a bit impulsive, wasn't he?" Chloe's mom continued, her tone a blend of reproach and excuse him. I wondered how much of what she was saying was actually true. I had a serious talk with Chloe last night, and she promised she'll have absolutely no more contact with Liam, she went on. "So, about the wedding in 2 days, can we still go ahead with it as planned?" Her voice became cautious, her eyes hopeful. My mom pressed her fingers to her forehead, feigning distress. "Oh dear, you see, you should have said something sooner. I've already called all our relatives and friends and told them not to come," she sighed. "This wedding, I think it's best we just call it off. Some things just aren't meant to be, and it's better not to force them." Chloe's mom protested. "But they're so good together, how can it not be meant to be?" My mom's gaze flickered towards Chloe, a look of disdain mixed with contempt. "I saw the video. It seems to me your daughter isn't all that keen on marrying into our family." My mom's words hung in the air, making the atmosphere even more tense. The moment Chloe heard that, her face went white and she dropped to her knees. "Mom," she cried, addressing my mother, "I really know I was wrong. I'll never see him again, I swear. You love my lasagna, right? I'll make it for you every single day. I won't go anywhere." My mom let out a deep sigh. "Many people can make a good lasagna, Chloe, but I only have room for one daughter-in-law, and it's very clear you're not cut out for the role." My mom's words crushed Chloe. She lowered her head, tears streaming down her face. Smack! Chloe's mother slapped her across the face, the sound sharp and loud. "Chloe, Davis, apologize to your mother-in-law properly right now." Her voice was a furious, urgent hiss, her eyes filled with a desperate helplessness. Chloe looked stunned for a second, then, as if on cue, burst into hysterical tears and grabbed my mom's legs, her face a mask of remorse. "Mom, I'm so sorry. I'll be good from now on. I promise I'll make things work with Ethan. Please don't hate me." At this point, Chloe screamed in anxiously. "You can't just let the kids make these decisions on their own. As elders, it's our responsibility to guide them. Young people are impulsive. They make mistakes." My mom drew herself up, an air of authority radiating from her, her eyes ice cold as she cut Chloe's mother off. "And you can stop calling me family. I can't accept that title from you." Her voice was firm. "Let me be perfectly honest. After this, I will never, ever agree to Chloe Davis marrying into the Miller family. So you can both stop wasting your breath with this performance," she added, her tone dripping with disdain. "A girl who behaves so openly, our family can't afford that kind of daughter-in-law." That quiet, unshakable authority instantly silenced Chloe and her mother. After all, my mom had navigated the business world for decades. She'd seen every trick and manipulation in the book, every sob story. Realizing her act had been exposed, Chloe's mother, fuming, kicked Chloe a couple of times. "You're useless," she seethed. "Good for nothing but messing things up. I don't know who you get your trampy ways from." She looked like she could spit nails, her eyes burning with anger and disappointment. I silently watched the pathetic figures of Chloe and her mother leave.
I should have listened to my parents. Have the big wedding celebration first, then deal with the legal marriage. If I had, I wouldn't be in this mess. Or perhaps I just shouldn't have rushed the legal part before really knowing her. I thought Chloe's mother's melodrama was over, but I was wrong. There was an act 2. The day before the now-canceled wedding, she showed up at my office and actually knelt before me. The suddenness of it caught me completely off guard. I had no idea what she was trying to pull. Was this some kind of guilt trip? With tears and snot running down her face, she wailed, "Ethan, I'm begging you as her mother, well, almost mother-in-law. Let's both compromise. We don't have to have the big wedding ceremony, but you absolutely cannot divorce her," she cried, her voice thick with desperation and a feigned helplessness. "If you divorce her, what will happen to our Chloe? Everyone knows she was messing around with her ex. Who will ever marry her now?" I knew exactly why she was so desperate for Chloe to marry me. It wasn't just about Chloe's reputation. Chloe had a younger brother, and she'd grown up in a family that clearly favored the son. Her mother was counting on Chloe marrying well to help secure a good future, or rather a financial windfall for her precious boy, probably hoping to get him a cushy job or a handout. I smirked inwardly. Her motives were transparent. "Mrs. Davis," I said, trying to keep my voice even, "please get up. It's over between your daughter and me. You know," I continued, "Liam Walker is actually doing pretty well for himself financially these days. You don't have to force Chloe to marry me since they clearly can't forget each other. Why don't you just let them be together? Wouldn't that make everyone happy?" The moment Chloe's mom heard the word money, her eyes lit up like a Christmas tree. She'd originally broken Chloe and Liam up because she thought Liam was too poor. Now she hesitated. "No," she said, though the greed flickered. "He can't possibly compare to you. My son-in-law can only be you." Seeing that she was as stubborn as a mule and wouldn't listen to reason, I had to get harsh. "Get out," I said firmly. "If you insist on this, I'm calling security." She scoffed. "Call them. This is a domestic dispute, a civil matter at best. They can't arrest me for this." I felt a surge of frustration.
The police or security would probably just issue a warning. Thinking quickly, I leaned down and whispered a few sentences in her ear. She scrambled to her feet instantly, her face a mask of venomous resentment, and left without another word, not even looking back. Actually, her weak spot was easy to find. She doted on her son, right? The only reason she was willing to kneel and beg me for Chloe's sake was because she hoped her son could use Chloe as a stepping stone to eventually land a job at Miller Worldwide, my family's company. I simply used her son as leverage, and she panicked and fled. In her eyes, it didn't matter who her son-in-law was, as long as he had money. Watching her retreating figure, I couldn't help but feel a pain of pity for Chloe having a mother like that. Right now, though, I was incredibly relieved that the wedding was off, and thank God Chloe and I didn't have any children. If we did, who knows what kind of drama her mother would stir up using a child as a pawn. After work, I ran into Chloe waiting by the entrance of my office building. Her silhouette looked a little forlorn against the setting sun, but I felt not a shred of pity. "Ethan, can we talk?" Her voice was a strained plea. I shook my head, exasperated. These two, mother and daughter, were like a bad rash I couldn't get rid of. Talk about what besides the divorce? What else is there for us to discuss? Chloe's voice cracked on the verge of tears, and she fell back on her usual excuse. "Ethan, nothing really happened between him and me that night. It was all an accident." But I had zero interest in hearing it again. A sarcastic smile played on my lips as I looked at her, incredulous. "An accident? Who do you think would believe that? Do you think you've gone prematurely senile, or have you been watching too many cheesy soap operas?" I continued. "I'm sorry, I'm not that much of a romantic fool. One betrayal usually leads to countless more. The risk is too high. I don't want to wake up one day and find out my kid isn't even mine. If you actually had the guts to own up to what you did, I might at least respect you for being honest about who you are and what you want." My words clearly hit a nerve. Chloe looked flustered, her eyes darting around in panic. Chloe, seeing my cold indifference, seemed to decide to throw a Hail Mary, or maybe just throw a tantrum. "Ethan Miller, let's just ignore the facts for a moment, okay?" she shrieked, her voice escalating as she tried to shift the blame onto me. "If we're in this mess, don't you think you have some fault in it too? If you hadn't been so impulsive and called off the wedding, we could have totally gone back to how things were." I was genuinely stunned. I couldn't believe she'd actually say something so ludicrous. Ignore the facts? Do people like this actually exist? If you ignore the facts, what was there left to even talk about? My own anger flared. "Chloe, you're being ridiculous, and frankly, your attempts to twist this are disgusting.
I'm basically giving you and Liam my blessing to be together, so what are you even crying about? Isn't this what you wanted all along?" Her aggressive posture deflated instantly, and her face went deathly pale. She stammered, her eyes pleading. "Ethan, it's not like that. The person I love is you." I closed my eyes, took a deep breath to calm myself, then opened them to meet Chloe's desperate gaze. All these years, I thought I'd been a good boyfriend, a good fiancé for her. I deliberately kept my distance from other women just so she wouldn't get jealous. Unlike
money, I hadn't messed around. Instead, the first chance I got, I proposed, wanting to give her a home, a future. I pulled the divorce papers, which I'd had drawn up over the past 2 days, from my briefcase. "Take a look at these. If you have any questions, call me. I'll have my lawyer discuss it with you." Chloe's hands trembled. She reached out, then pulled back. I thrust the papers into her hand, turned, and walked away without another glance. In the past couple of days, I'd come to a clear realization. You can't hold on to a woman who's determined to play around. Better to make a clean break now than to wait for her to cheat on me again and make a complete fool out of me down the line. If you can't hold on to sand, you might as well just let it slip through your fingers. The next day, I received a text from Chloe. "Divorce papers signed. See you at the courthouse in a month." A wave of relief washed over me. This whole tangled mess of a relationship was finally coming to an end. The wedding, of course, never happened. Everyone knew why. A month flew by. I heard that during that time, Chloe's mom had been relentlessly brainwashing her, aggressively pushing her to get together with Liam. The day we got our divorce finalized, Chloe turned right around and married Liam. I just smiled faintly when I heard, not really caring, and even offered them a polite, if distant, congratulations through a mutual friend. I never expected that just 2 months later, Chloe would swallow her pride and seek me out again. That night, I had worked late. As I was walking out of the office building, I saw her standing by the fountain in the plaza. Her silhouette looked lonely in the dim light, but I felt nothing. "Ethan," she said, her voice hesitant, hopeful. "How have you been?" "Fine," I replied calmly, enjoying my freedom. Seeing Chloe again stirred nothing in me. I didn't linger, just headed towards the parking garage. Chloe trailed slowly behind me, tears welling in her eyes. Then she called out, her voice louder. "Ethan, Liam and I are planning our wedding celebration. I know you don't want to see me," she rushed on, "but I really miss you. Can we try again?" I paused and turned back. "Well, congratulations then." She sounded desperate. "Ethan, you know I didn't come here tonight to hear you congratulate me or to show off. I came because—" I didn't want to hear any more of it. I cut her off sharply. "Chloe, this is just pathetic. You're about to celebrate your marriage to another man, and you're out here chasing after me. Seriously, a leopard can't change its spots. Get lost." I added, "I don't want anyone getting the wrong idea that there's still something between us, and I have zero interest in being the other guy in your drama." Chloe looked like I'd slapped her. Her face crumpled and she seemed to deflate, muttering to herself as in a daze. "All this time, I haven't forgotten you. I truly regret everything. Just say the word, Ethan, and I'll call off the whole thing with Liam. We can run away together, just us." That night, I honestly don't know what happened. I don't know how I ended up like that with him. When he first came back and started contacting me, I explicitly rejected him, but then he just kept messaging me, so I eventually— Her voice trailed off. Chloe rambled on, painting herself as the deeply devoted, repentant wife from some cheesy romance novel where the heroine grovels to win back her man. Unfortunately for her, I was tired of the games, tired of the drama. I couldn't stop. Off again. Enough. I don't want to hear your sob story. We're divorced. Don't come looking for me anymore. Every adult has to take responsibility for their choices. When you gave in to his advances, you should have known it would lead to this. And unlike you, I don't go back for seconds. You've got a serious problem with your moral compass. Chloe, don't try to drag me down with you. I'm not interested in that kind of embarrassment. With that, I turned and left, leaving Chloe standing there crying in the dark. Chloe went ahead with her wedding celebration. The groom, naturally, was Liam Walker. Meanwhile, through a friend, I met Olivia Hayes. Olivia was an internationally renowned fashion designer. Celebrities and VIPs all over the world wore her creations.
She was elegant, talented, and I was completely captivated by her. Olivia's parents were wonderfully open-minded. They didn't hold my previous divorce against me or look down on me in any way. In fact, they were incredibly warm and welcoming. Their kindness was a genuine comfort, and it made me cherish my relationship with Olivia even more. I thought Chloe and I would never cross paths again. About a year later, I took Olivia, who was pregnant with that child, to the hospital for a checkup. As we were walking towards the main entrance, we unexpectedly ran into Chloe and Liam. They were in the middle of a loud argument. We could hear their angry voices from a distance. Both of them were clearly furious. "Liam, if this treatment doesn't work this time, we're getting a divorce," Chloe was saying, wiping tears from her eyes, her voice choked with frustration. "I am sick and tired of your mother constantly calling me a barren hen," Liam shot back, his voice dripping with sarcasm and contempt. "Oh, so now you're too good for me, Chloe. You think I'm not good enough anymore, huh? You think if you leave me, you'll just waltz into another marriage. Don't forget, if we divorce, you'll be a 3-time loser in marriage. What man will want a woman on a 3rd try, damaged goods like you? You should be grateful I even put up with you." His verbal assault was brutal. Chloe, enraged, slapped Liam hard across the face. "You think I wanted to marry you? If you hadn't been such a low-down, dirty snake and sent that disgusting video to Ethan, do you think you would have ended up like this?" Finally, the truth comes out. You're still hung up on that pretty boy, aren't you? You want a divorce? Fine, I'll give you one. Olivia and I happened to walk by just as they were shouting these words. I was helping Olivia, who was showing her pregnancy. Chloe and Liam were so wrapped up in their fight, they didn't even notice us. Later, we heard the backstory. After they got married, they've been unable to conceive. Their families, especially Liam's, were constantly pressuring them. They've been to several hospitals for fertility treatments, even tried various folk remedies, but nothing worked. A few months after that public fight, Liam's company was reported for tax evasion. During the investigation, the authorities also uncovered evidence that Liam and his associates were involved in an illegal fundraising scheme. The company eventually collapsed, and several key executives, including Liam, were arrested. The person who reported them? Chloe. She had asked Liam for a divorce, but he'd adamantly refused. One night, Liam came home drunk and became physically and verbally abusive. In a fit of anger and desperation, Chloe had anonymously reported his company for tax evasion. That's what led to the whole takedown. Afterward,
Divorce, and the court granted it. So Chloe was free again. But from what I heard, being divorced didn't exactly make her life any better. One day, I was at the hospital with my mom for one of her appointments, and there once again was Chloe Davis in the middle of a screaming match. This time, her opponent was her own mother. I swear I felt like an NPC in a video game. Twice I come to this hospital, and twice I trigger the Chloe's public meltdown side quest. Mrs. Davis was furious. "You'll marry him whether you like it or not. He's offering $10,000 cash as a gift." Chloe shrieked back. "He's old enough to be Mr. Henderson's father from next door. How can I marry someone like that?" "A 3-time divorcee like you doesn't get to be picky," her mother retorted. "You're lucky anyone even wants you. In 2 days, you're moving in with him. No wedding ceremony. It's a waste of money. I don't know what sins I committed in a past life to have such a useless, money-draining daughter. It's utterly humiliating." Chloe immediately fired back. "If I'm such a drain on your finances, why don't you ask your precious son to take you to your doctor's appointments? I'm the only one willing to look after you. Your son is probably just waiting for you to die so he can get his hands on whatever you have." Mrs. Davis exploded like a firecracker. She lunged forward, grabbed a fistful of Chloe's hair, and started spewing obscenities. "You dare wish me dead, and you dare badmouth my son? You must have a death wish. If I don't beat you senseless today, I'm not a human being. I was hoping you'd at least catch a rich husband, get some money for my son. But no, you had to go and mess around with your ex. If it weren't for you, my son would be a top executive at Miller Worldwide by now. Our whole family is cursed because of a jinx like you." Chloe didn't back down verbally, though. She didn't fight back physically. "Your loser son get a job at Miller Worldwide? Dream on. Even if Ethan and I had gotten married, I would never have let that leech anywhere near the company. And Liam's company going under? Your darling son deserves at least half the credit for that disaster. Now that the government is taking care of him in prison, you can finally relax." Watching the two of them a short distance away, publicly tearing into each other without any regard for their surroundings, I couldn't help but let out a small laugh. My mom shot me a look that could kill. I mumbled quickly, pulling my mom away. "Let's go this way, Mom. Avoid the crazy people." Later, I heard that some passersby had to step in and physically separate Chloe and her mother to end the spectacle. After that incident at the hospital, Chloe apparently cut off all ties with her family, especially with her blatant favoritism towards her brother. She moved abroad by herself. It was understandable, really. Her brother was known for holding grudges.
If he ever found out that Chloe's actions had indirectly led to his imprisonment by bringing down Liam, with whom he was likely involved in shady dealings, there's no telling how he would torment her. Chloe was probably just protecting herself. 30 years later, Olivia and I were traveling overseas. We were having dinner at a Chinese-American restaurant, and I saw her, Chloe. We both recognized each other instantly.